There are 5 steps to selling on Walmart.com.
The first step is applying to sell on Walmart.com by going to marketplace.walmart.com and clicking on request to sell.
The second step is to actually list your product on the platform by adding images for your product, a title, and a description.
The third step is doing things to increase your conversion, such as applying for WFS, adding the Pro Seller badge, and promotional tags in rich media.
The fourth step is to launch your product by getting as many people to come to Walmart.com to buy your product and making sure that you have a high conversion rate of that traffic.
The fifth step is growing your business on the platform by optimizing your listing quality scores, leveraging advertising for ranking, and potentially getting your product into stores.
Which is a huge deal. If you do well on Walmart.com, you can actually get your product into Walmart stores. And Michael is a 7-figure Walmart.com expert. He helps people sell their product on Walmart, and he's going to share step by step how you can list your products for sale on Walmart.com. So smash the like button, because Walmart.com last year did over $46 billion in revenue, and they're projected to do $60 billion in revenue by next year. And they're growing 5 times faster than Amazon.com. And the crazy part is only 7% of the sellers that are selling on Amazon.com are selling on Walmart.com. So this is a huge opportunity if you get in early. And before we get into the video, Michael's actually going to be speaking at my live in-person event, Passion Product Live, on July 31st, and tickets are almost gone. Ticket prices are going to be increasing next week, so make sure you click the link down below to get yours before it's too late. The first step to selling on Walmart.com is to apply to be a seller. And to do that, you're going to go to marketplaces.walmart.com and click Request to Sell. It's completely free to do, and it's very simple to do, but there's a few things that people need to have ready when they're requesting to sell on the platform. What are some of those things?
Yeah, I like to get everything that we're going to need ready beforehand, so your application doesn't time out or anything. You're going to want to, number one, have your U.S. business tax ID. So that's just your EIN.
And that's free to get, right?
Yeah.
So just get that on the internet. Super simple.
The next thing you're going to want is a W-9, which is also free to get. You could just generate that on irs.gov. It's very simple. The third thing you're going to want is your address of business. For that, you're going to want to make sure it's a U.S. address.
That's important.
And if you don't have a U.S. address, you're likely to get denied. So make sure to use a U.S. address. The next thing they're going to ask you for is your product categories. Make sure to put in what product categories you primarily sell in.
And so that would be something like grocery and gourmet, or like how specific is that?
So they have like a drop down with options. So it'll be like, health and household, very similar to Amazon. So it's very simple.
But there's 5 common mistakes that people make when applying to sell on Walmart.com that makes it so they get denied from their seller application. What is the first mistake that people make?
The first thing is people put a low amount of products. You want to put all the products that you could carry, because if you put a low number of products, they're more likely to deny you.
But to be clear, even if you only have one product, that's okay. You should still apply. But the more products, the more SKUs that you have, you should apply with all those, because they prefer sellers that are selling a lot of different products. But even if you have one, you should still apply, right?
Yeah, and I've seen sellers get approved with 1 or 2 products. The second thing you need to do is double check all your information. Once you submit, you can't go back. So just make sure that all your information is accurate. The third thing is you have to make sure your brand presence is in a good place, meaning that you have a website and you have good reviews on your if you have an Amazon store, on your Amazon store, you have good reviews on your products and your store.
Do you need social media? Does it help, or is it?
Social media definitely helps, and they just want to see brand presence. So if they Google your brand and they search that and you have a presence, it's going to help a lot.
The fourth reason people get denied is because they're trying to sell custom-made products. And if you're trying to sell custom-made products, you shouldn't be trying to sell it on Walmart.com, right?
Correct. Yeah, they don't want sellers who are selling custom-made or, print-on-demand products.
Gotcha. And what about the fifth reason? What's the fifth reason why people get denied with Walmart.com?
The fifth reason, which happens very often, is if people are applying from an international IP address or the domain is an international domain.
So if you're traveling, don't try to apply for Walmart.com while you're overseas. Wait till you get back to the United States. What about if a seller is international and they still want to sell on Walmart.com? Is there a way to get around that?
So there is an actual international form for international sellers where you could get approved. It's a harder process and they don't approve as many sellers, but you could actually get approved as an international seller. It's a different form though.
An important thing to remember is if you get denied from selling on Walmart.com, you can appeal it. And oftentimes they will review the appeal and people will end up getting approved. And if you want Michael's help in applying to sell on Walmart.com, I'll put a link down below. He helps people all the time to apply. And even if people get denied, he can help people to get that overturned.
Yeah, we work directly with Walmart as a Walmart partner. We're one of their approved partners. We're able to work with them on, sellers sometimes should get approved or there was a mistake in the application. We could sometimes help push that through, but we like to work making sure that all the information is accurate from the start and helping the application, because it's much easier if we apply from the start to make sure that we do it properly. The second step is listing your product on the platform. So there's a few things to keep in mind when you're listing your product on the platform. Something I always like to start off with is telling sellers, don't just take your Amazon listing and put it on Walmart. You're going to want to actually understand what Walmart cares about and structure your listing for that. So that's really important, and it not only is becoming more and more of a necessity, but it gives you a little bit of an edge because a lot of sellers aren't doing that. So you want to set yourself up for that extra leverage.
So one thing that a lot of Amazon sellers do is they keyword stuff, they make their titles extremely long. Walmart doesn't like that, right?
Yeah, Walmart doesn't like that, and they know that a lot of algorithms kind of favor that. So Walmart's actually been putting in a lot of, so to say, metrics to reward sellers who don't do that, and they've been structuring their ranking algorithm in a way where it favorites people who follow their guidelines and follow their best practices.
So another thing that you're going to want to do is make sure you're using keywords, search phrases that have a lot of volume, right? As opposed to on Amazon. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, so on Amazon, a lot of sellers will use very niche keywords and very particular keywords because, even though they might only have small search volume, relatively or small search volume, it's much easier for them to rank for those. On Walmart, it's two things. It's first of all, there isn't as much volume. So you're going to want to make sure you capture the large keywords because that's where you're going to get sales from. But number two is shoppers on Walmart search simpler. Yeah. They're not used to, on Amazon, customers are used to having to search for very specific keywords to find their results because there's so many products and there's just so large. On Walmart, they're not used to that. It's simpler key phrases. Also, the suggested, when you're searching in the search bar, the suggested phrases that show up on Walmart are shorter. So people a lot of times just click those. So you're going to want to, because of that, those searches have a lot more volume. So you're going to want to make sure that you really focus on those.
And Helium 10 does have a tool that'll help you to find keywords on Walmart.com. I'll put a link to that down below. I do have a discount code that gets you 50% off if you want to use Helium 10 to find keywords for your title.
Yeah, and they've actually built out their Walmart suite of tools. And they're coming on with more and more features, but it actually tells you your estimated search volume for Walmart.com, which is really helpful.
So it's going to be different keywords that you're ranking for on Walmart.com than Amazon. So really, you want to rebuild your listing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So what I like doing is for our clients is taking their Amazon listing and looking what's the benefits that you call out in those listings? What keywords are actually driving conversions? And then keeping that in mind, on Walmart, searching what keywords have the volume and then writing your listings based on that.
The next thing that you're going to want to consider is your images. What's the difference between Amazon.com images and Walmart.com images?
So very similar. You're going to want to have very similar images. You have a little more flexibility with Walmart. They aren't as strict as things in the main image. You could get away with some things. Something that's important to keep in mind for Walmart images is that it affects your ranking. So if you don't fill out all your images, you lose some points. And what that means is Walmart created this system called Listing Quality Score. And Listing Quality Score is basically a gamified system to rank how you did with your listings. If you don't include all your images, you're going to lose some points, and that's going to affect your ranking. Not only is it going to affect your conversion, but it'll affect your ranking off the start.
So Walmart.com allows you to upload, is it 7, 8 images?
7 or 8 images.
Seven or 8 images. And so the thing is, you want to make sure you use all of those, where a lot of people aren't doing that right now. So that's a missed opportunity for a lot of Walmart sellers. What about your main image? Is there any tips on your main image? Because I'm assuming that's the most important image, right?
Yeah, so what you have to keep in mind is that brands on Walmart, are a lot of times people know them and, trust them. So they have to see very little to be like, oh, that's the product I buy and I usually purchase, or that's a product brand I know and I see in stores a lot of times. So you want to make sure that you really take up as much real estate of that main image as possible. Yeah. So what we like doing is making the product really stand out, making it really large. You could get away sometimes with some icons. You might want an icon that helps it stand out how many packs are in there. I think there's once in a while if you put too many things in the main image, you'll get flagged, but there's a lot of open space there.
So it sounds like add icons to your main image. Also, you kind of said this, at least on Amazon, you don't want to have too much white space around your image because if you shrink the white space, it actually makes the main product look bigger. Same thing on Walmart?
Exactly, yeah.
The next thing you mentioned is you want to make sure the attributes field is filled out. What is the attribute field?
So on Walmart, they want to categorize their catalog a lot based on attributes. So that it's very easy for customers to filter what they're looking for. So every single product and every single product category has attribute fields. So example of attributes are size, color. Sometimes it'll be like storage, like, you know, where cold storage, you know, sometimes it'll be weight, and it depends on the product. And you want to fill out as many of those as you can. So for every product category, there's something called required attributes. There's recommended attributes, and there's optional. So you want to fill out as many of those as you can. Number one,
fill them all out, right?
Exactly. So it's like number one, they'll help you get indexed and ranked better. But not only that, your point, because we spoke briefly about listing quality score, where you get a certain amount of points assigned by Walmart for each of the things that they rank you on. And one of those things are attributes. So if you fill out a lot of those attributes, your points are going to be higher.
So let's talk a little bit about what the listing quality score is. It sounds like you want to get that as high as you can, because if your listing quality score is high, that means that you're more likely to show up at the top of the search results, which means more sales, right?
Yeah, it's actually very simple. People get confused by it, but it's actually very simple. The way I like breaking it down is there's something called listing quality score, which is your overall score. It's between 1 to 100.
Okay.
Right? And on Walmart, on the seller center, it actually tells you what your overall listing quality score is and what it is for each listing. Not only that, it tells you exactly what you could do for each listing to improve your listing quality score. So it's actually pretty simple. Yeah. And the way it's broken down is, number one, content and the discoverability score. So within listing quality score, there's a few different scores. Content and discoverability score is based on, number one, your attributes, which we just spoke about, but also is based on if you follow their guidelines for the length of your title, the length of your description. If you put in too much HTML in your description, you're going to lose a few points. If you may have spelling mistakes, you're going to lose a couple points. So that's your content and discoverability score. The next part of your listing quality score is your reviews and rating score. So if you have reviews on your listing, you get points for it. If you don't have reviews, you lose a little bit of points. So there's a certain amount of points associated for that, and it's really important to have high reviews and rating score. Besides that, your reviews and ratings improve your conversions and all that, they also help you actually with your listing score. And the last thing is offer score, which offer score is going to be based on if you're in stock. You know, if you go out of stock, your score is going to go down. If you're having canceled orders, your score is going to go down. You know, if your price is competitive. And that's going to affect that. And overall, that'll be your listing quality score. And it's very important to kind of understand that, because a lot of the products ranked in top positions usually have high listing quality scores.
And it sounds like a lot listening right now, but it seems like Walmart.com breaks it down for you, and they tell you from 0 to 100 how well you're doing, and they'll tell you what you can improve on, right?
Exactly. And it's like most people just don't pay attention to it. But if you just click on your listing, it'll be like, just shorten your title by a word, or it'll tell you, you know, you have a spelling error in there. And it's very simple, and most people just don't pay attention to it. By paying attention to it, it really helps you rank.
The third thing you want to do is increase your conversions after you have your listing set up. How can you increase your conversions?
So there's a few different things you could do to increase your conversions. Number one, and I think is one of the most important things, is WFS. That stands for Walmart Fulfillment Services. Very similar to Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is, you know, for the seller, it's called Amazon FBA. And what that is, it's Walmart's fulfillment services, where you could get your products to you within 2 days. You're going to want to make sure you have that. You get a little badge on your listing, and it really helps you rank, and it helps, you know, you get conversions, which is really important.
So with WFS, you send your products that you want to sell on Walmart.com into the warehouses, and they ship out the products for you, just like with Amazon FBA. So basically that means that you don't have to ship out the products yourself to the customer. They're going to take care of that, and it's going to make it so people are more likely to buy your products because they're going to receive the products within 2 days, right?
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of buyers actually filter their results to only see products that are WFS. So that's really important. The next thing you're going to want to do is get your Pro Seller Badge. Now, Pro Seller Badge shows on next to every seller. So next to the buy box, it'll show if you're a Pro Seller Badge. And that just helps with trust. A lot of times, as you know, we said, customers on Walmart.com, you know, they might be used to purchasing from other brands and they don't know you. But by having that Pro Seller Badge, it really helps. So in order to have a Pro Seller Badge, it actually will tell you on your list, on your seller center, exactly what you need to do to get the Pro Seller Badge. And it's a combination of high listing quality score, shipping out a certain amount of orders, and, you know, uploading tracking. Pretty simple metrics, and not having low cancellation rates. So as long as you're doing good business, you know, you're shipping your orders, you have good listing quality scores, you're gonna get that Pro Seller Badge, and it really helps.
So the next thing is promotional tags. And I don't even know, what are promotional tags?
There's a few different types of promotional tags. There's some promotional tags which you have to earn by, Walmart's algorithm, and there's some that you could actually force onto your listing, so to say. So example of some of the promotional badges are, for example, a clearance badge or a reduced price badge. So what you could do is there's a section where you could upload a file of reduced price or clearance price, and automatically on your listing, there's going to be a clearance or a reduced price badge. So a lot of times on our listings, it won't be clearance, but we'll put that clearance badge and it'll help it really get those clicks and get those conversions. So, that really helps. And then there's also badges, sometimes bestseller, which is more based on how quick you're moving and how much volume you're selling, and that you'll get it just by actually selling product.
And the last thing that you can do to increase conversions is add rich media to your listing. What is rich media?
Rich media is one of my favorite things. It basically allows you to tell your product story. And what I mean by that is Amazon has something similar, which is called A+ content. But basically what this is usually in your listing, you could just have title, descriptions, key features, and images. Rich media allows you to add in videos, enhanced descriptions. So instead of just words description, you could have images and even video within your description again. You could have comparison charts where you could compare your product to competitor products or other products of yours, which helps actually drive sales to your other listings. It might be a new product. You also even able to add in a PDF into your listing. So let's say you have let's say you're selling a supplement and, you have a recipe for mixing it, or you have, a workout product and you want to add a workout guide. You could actually add a PDF, downloadable PDF in there.
Wow.
And they even have FAQs, which is, great because a lot of times the best way to sell your product is address the customer's question. Yeah. And in the FAQs, in the answers, not only you could write the answer, you could actually add a video or images in the answer. So there's a lot of ways you could leverage that. And it really helps tell your product story, tell your brand story. Even if they never knew about your brand or heard about your brand, you could help educate them about it and tell your story.
So before we get into the fourth step, it sounds like you really want to try to increase your conversions as much as possible. And you can do that by adding WFS, which means people are more likely to click on your product and more likely to buy your product because they're going to get it in 2 days. You can also have the Pro Seller Badge, which shows that you are a legitimate, reputable seller. And you could do promotional tags and add rich media. And once you do all those things, people are much more likely to buy from you than the competition, which means more sales for you. And it means that Walmart.com is more likely to put your product at the top of the search results, which again means more sales.
Yeah, and to be honest, most sellers aren't doing these things.
So it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, and even if you just do 1 or 2 of these things, they really help. And
Wow.
It's just a great advantage.
So now that we have our listing ready and we have it optimized for conversions, it's time to actually launch the product. So how do you launch a product on Walmart.com?
So the most important thing is getting as much high converting traffic as you can get to your listing. When your listing is new, any traffic you get, you want it to show high conversion rate. So you want to make sure that you're sending good advertising. And with Walmart advertising, there's a lot of great advertising you could run. And if you're targeting the right keywords, you're able to usually index pretty quickly and rank pretty quickly.
So to do advertising on Walmart, they have a way that you can actually advertise on their own website, right? On the Walmart.com.
Yes.
How do you do that?
So you will actually go to Walmart Connect and apply through Walmart Connect. Once you apply through Walmart Connect, you could actually access it from your regular seller dashboard, but it's just a separate entity within Walmart. So you just a separate application, but you almost always get approved for it.
So it's kind of like Amazon's advertising, Amazon PPC. You just bid on keywords, basically.
Exactly. It's exactly like Amazon PPC, where you just bid on keywords, you bid on different placements. So if you know your product performs well in different sorts of placements or different sorts of keywords, you could put higher bids on those. Gotcha. And it's actually it's been advancing really quickly, and there's a lot of great opportunity there. And what's great is also there isn't that many sellers leveraging it, so you're not bidding against a lot of sellers and spending a lot unnecessarily.
So it's a lot cheaper than trying to advertise on Amazon.
Exactly.
And probably similar conversion rates. Another thing that you can do is flash deals and campaigns. Talk about that.
Yeah, so Walmart actually most recently introduced this, where they'll have options to actually apply your products to feature it in different campaigns they run. So they'll run a back to school campaign, for example, or it'll be more around themes, right? And you could actually apply your product to be in there. And a lot of times if you have a good listing, they'll get approved. And what that allows is different places on the Walmart page, they'll promote it, but also they'll send emails about that. And flash deals are similar, where it's literally promotions that they send out via email for these different flash picks. And if you submit your product to it, there's a great chance it'll get approved and drive a lot of extra volume.
And another thing that you can do to get as many sales as possible from day one of launching on Amazon is outside, like sending external traffic, right? I mean, you can, if you wanted to, something that I like to do at least is run social media, grow an email list, get a lot of people on the email list, letting them know I'm going to be launching this product. And then maybe a week before I launch it, get them excited, send out some emails saying, hey, this product's coming soon. Does that, I mean, I know that works on Amazon. I assume it works on Walmart.com as well?
Yeah, it's actually even better in my opinion for Walmart, because Walmart is so heavily based on conversion rate. So all that traffic you're sending over, there are people that are already interested. Yeah. They've been prepped about it. They're excited about it. So they're likely to actually go to the product and purchase it, which is great. And there's so many ways you could leverage them to leave reviews, to follow up with them. And there's a lot of things you could do like that.
So to sum it up, you really, when you're launching your product, you want to get as many sales as possible and specifically as high of a conversion rate as possible. And if you do that, Walmart is likely to put you at the top of the search results, which again leads to you getting even more sales, more reviews, and it kind of just snowballs into success. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah.
And we're still early. So you don't need that many sales to get to the top of the search results. And what you want to do, if I understand correct, is you want to do this now. Because if you can get to the top of the search results now, and it doesn't take a lot to get to the top of the search results, that's going to continue.
And and then as the platform grows, you're growing with the platform. Yeah. So it's great. And it's like, that's what how I really look at Walmart is I've always tell people is one of my first products I started selling was a workout glove on Amazon like 7 years ago. And I always tell people, if only I would have launched like 2 more workout gloves, I would have been retired. So it's like the same concept,
And the fifth step after you launch your product is to just continue growing your business. How do people grow their business on Walmart.com?
So there's a few things you could do to grow your business on Walmart. One of the things that you always want to just do, and it's not a lot of work, but you always want to put a little effort to optimizing your listing scores. So Walmart will sometimes come out with changes for things that they want, and you could just make slight edits to your listing. But also there's small things you could do to improve your listing score. For example, there might be an extra attribute you could fill out, or a new attribute field that Walmart will add in, and you're going to want to fill those out. So that's number one. The next thing is advertising. There's a lot of ways to leverage advertising profitably to just scale your business. And you're going to always want advertising running. So you could actually maximize finding new keywords to launch on and actually just maintaining a broad presence for your product. A lot of times advertising is really great for product placement. So you're going to have your listing being able to show on a lot of other competitor products pages by advertising. So you're going to want to really leverage that. One other thing that we really like to do is actually getting deals all constantly pushed through. So you're going to want to constantly promote your product with deals. It allows Walmart to just push your product more. We touched on it, previously with flash deals and campaigns. You're going to want to submit your products always to those. And, even if it's very slight discounts, it helps get it more visibility. So you're going to want to always do that. And the last thing to really growing your business, which is one of my favorites, is the ability to get your products in Walmart stores.
It's a huge opportunity. People are selling on Walmart.com. How do they actually get their product into Walmart stores?
So what's really been interesting is it happened approximately 2 years ago where Walmart used to have they're called merchants in charge of .com, and they had merchants in charge of their retail. Around 2 years ago, they merged those two departments. So the merchants that are in charge of their .com, for example, for fitness for .com, is the same merchant who's purchasing for fitness stores. And what they're really directed to do is they're looking for brands who perform well on their .com platform to bring it to stores. So you might be a brand that they would have never met with. You're too small. You're not doing a lot of revenue on Walmart.com. But because you're actually selling on the platform and you're performing on the platform, they want to invest in those sellers. And number two, it shows a small proof of concept that Walmart customers actually like your products. You perform good business with Walmart. And that's really important. And actually, I'm going to be flying down to Walmart, which is in Arkansas, in 2 weeks to actually present my products to them because they want to see them.
So there's a huge opportunity. If you do well on Walmart.com, you can even get into Walmart stores. And if you want to work with Michael, click the link down below. He can help you to apply to Walmart.com and help you to scale your business. So click on that link if you want to work with Michael, and thank you for watching the video.